It's been a while since I've seen you and brought a wreath tutorial to you, but I know how much y'all love wreath tutorials, and so I wanted to get one done for y'all today. I'm doing something I've never done before. First of all, the main man is out of town. He's up, I think he's circling New York right now, or Syracuse or something, waiting to land. Apparently their plane has too much fuel. But regardless, so I'm shooting by myself today. So things are going to be a little awkward, but y'all know me and y'all are probably used to things being a little awkward anyway. So I'm glad that you're here. Be sure to go to undertexassky.com and check out our latest tutorials, which Under Texas Sky is so much more than just wreath tutorials anymore. I'm really into painting and refinishing old furniture, which is so fun. I'm also, I've got a couple of tutorials on painting, the signs that are so popular, farmhouse, gather, all of those things. I've got a couple of tutorials on how to make those. It's fabulous. So y'all be sure to go by undertexassky.com. Subscribe to the channel, as always, and so I've even gone live. It was terrible, but I still did it, and it was fun, and I think I gave some good information, but it was the first time, and y'all know how things go with me when I'm doing something for the first time, which is what I'm doing today. On this wreath I'm making today, I'm doing a grapevine wreath, and I'm using Deco mesh on the wreath, and I've really never done that before, so we're gonna see how it works. I think it could turn out really cute. I'm doing a patriotic wreath. I don't know when you're watching this, but right now it happens to be March, and we always like to go several months ahead. I think this will be great for my front door. Excuse me, for 4th of July. Let me get a drink of coffee here. I'm a little cloudy this morning. So I'm using, this is a pretty big grapevine wreath. I would recommend maybe buying a smaller wreath. It's going to take less material. It's just that I bought a supply of these several years ago. I've got a big stack. I probably still have about 7 of them left. They're big, but I want to use them. I'm also going to use, I'm going to use this 21-inch, this is a burlap, a poly burlap mesh, and I had this left over from a wreath I did at Christmas. As a matter of fact, it was in the trash pile, which I'm glad I didn't throw it away because it's not going to take very much. When you do a grapevine wreath, lots of them, at least the ones that I do, usually only cover one side, and then you'll have a single embellishment on the other side of some sort or whatever. So I'm going to do the Deco mesh 21-inch. I'm also going to try to maybe throw in some ruffles on here, so that's 10-inch. I'm going to use a few rolls of 10-inch. I've got, of course, red, white, and blue. It's patriotic. And I've got some zip ties, which I'm going to be using to attach the Deco mesh. I also have floral wire. I've just got this spool of floral wire. I'm probably going to be using that too. It just depends. I honestly don't know how things are going to go. Ribbon, a variety of ribbon. I happen to have some that is kind of a burlappy ribbon with stars and stripes. I've got this sort of denim that's blue and white, and I've got this little burlappy kind of red and burlap. These are like these are 3-inch. It's 3-inch ribbon. And then some florals. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't really have red, white, and blue flowers. I found out in all the flowers that I have, I don't have that. So I pulled some white flowers. I pulled some sort of bluish flowers that I had. I even pulled this, I have this big burlap flower. I even have some denim type roses that I pulled. So that's what I'm using. And then I also have lots of sort of rustic stars and hearts, little greenery that I've bought through the years. This clearly goes on a candle or something, and I've got a whole supply of these. I buy things, I keep them, you never know when you're going to want to use them. It'll come up. I also have, like this metal flag. I bought this several years ago somewhere. I probably found it on sale, Hobby Lobby or something. I do have some metal stars. I've got them in red, white, and blue. So it's just whatever. This little heart says glory on it. I don't know. I don't know where I got it or when I got it, but so those are your supplies, and we're just going to get started. You know, you need your rotary cutter for when we start cutting the 10-inch mesh. I'm just going to kind of put this on and go, and then I'll edit this later, you know, so it won't be so long. But we're just going to go ahead and start. Look at the shape of your wreath. You have to determine, like this one's kind of an oval. You know, I find the fattest sort of area, which in this case looks like it might be, well, it's kind of fat up here and it's fat down here too. So I don't know. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this fat end down here. I'll probably put my embellishment up here on this other fat end. But anyway, you want to, you know, you have to kind of envision where your stuff is going to go. This one has some awkward branches sort of sticking out. Oh, that's dangerous. I'm going to try to tuck that in. There we go. So, and when you're working with a grapevine wreath, I'm telling you, don't wear like the little bracelets that are elastic. You know, your little pearl stretchy bracelets or little sparkly, you know, gem bracelets. Don't wear those with this because it'll get caught on it. Even your shirt. I mean, I'm taking a chance on this. This is kind of a little polyester blend, and it tends to grab on. So what I'm going to do now, I know that I'm going to take my main embellishments and I'm going to go, you know, a little bit just off center is where I want to start it. I think that's probably a good place. I'm going to take a zip tie, and all of this stuff is going to be covered up. So, you know, don't worry like, oh my God, I don't want to use that. It's going to be right out in the open. Now, fortunately, I have a bunch of different colors of zip ties, and I have red, so I'm going to use red, and they're a good size. That's another thing you have to consider too. The size of your zip tie, how thick they are, and such as that. But I'm going to go ahead and put that in. I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit to where it's kind of looking down. So give me a second to do that. Okay, that might be a little bit better. So then I'm just going to kind of gather up. I'm going to come, I don't know how many, y'all know I always like to measure when I'm doing poofs. Let's see how big this little poof here is. It's about 9 inches, I guess, and that seems like a pretty good size. I'm going to puff it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take another zip tie. I mean, and you know, there may be people who do actual deco mesh wreaths instead of using like a work wreath form that I usually use. They may do this on a grapevine wreath. I don't know. I've not ever seen it, but it doesn't mean that they are doing it. I get questioned all the time about my work wreath forms that I use. I generally use, like, where do I get them? And I buy most all of my supplies, like my work wreath forms and ribbon and stuff like that. I get them from craftoutlet.com. I don't get any kind of payment for y'all buying anything from them. I'm not an affiliate of theirs. Which I probably should talk to them about doing, because I always encourage people to go there. Their prices are good, and their selection is good. So if you're wanting to know where I get my work wreaths, those are the wreaths that come with that already have the twist ties already attached, where you don't have to add them. You don't have to buy a big wire frame, which generally are too big in the first place. The ones I buy are 15-inch. That makes a 24-inch. Basically wreath when it's finished. And what I'm doing with this mesh, I'm putting it sort of in the middle of the wreath. The only thing about using these zip ties in a grapevine wreath is they get lost inside and you have to dig them out. Okay, the other end of it. Okay, there we go. All right. And measured that, but it's not was big. It's my bad. But you know, even if it's not perfect, it's fine because I'm going to be putting other stuff in it. So, you know, that's the great thing about wreaths too, is when you're using this material, if you mess something up, you're generally going to be adding some other thing to it. And so you can always cover it up, which I love. Let's see. This one looks bigger. And it is bigger. Let's shorten that up a little bit. You see I'm getting to the end of this roll of mesh, which is just fine because I'm not going around the entire wreath. Come on now. So I'm going to go ahead and come here, grab another zip tie, and stick this in. I hope y'all have watched some of my other videos where I'm, you know, refurnishing old furniture. I love that. I love to find thrift store furniture. You know, I'll go to Goodwill, I go to Salvation Army, and I look for old furniture that people didn't want. And usually it means it's because it's from the 70s or the 80s and, you know, it's out of style or it's got damage of some sort. You know, something about it, the reason that it's there is because something about it is not perfect. And I love using chalk paint. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping to become a distributor for a particular brand. I don't want to say it right now because I haven't signed any contracts or anything with them, but I do try a variety of different paints and finishes to share with y'all. And you know, I look for the ones that are the easiest to use and that turn out the best, that look the best when the thing is finished. Okay, and oh, it came undone. Well, that will be able to be thrown away. Let's see how much I've got here. Y'all can see here that I've gone about halfway around. And you know what? I'm going to cut this off right here because I really don't need more than that. And another thing, of course, you got is a good pair of scissors. I'm just going to cut that off, toss it. And then, of course, you'll go through and you'll trim off your zip ties. And be sure not to cut them too close to the base or you'll run the risk of cutting off your zip tie and it'll slip back through. So anyway, that's kind of where we started. And now I'm thinking, let's just see what happens to do this about, and that's another thing too, using this poly burlap, this grapevine wreath grabs onto everything. And it will pull it. And I mean, this one's got a million threads. These are some that I made for another project and I just happen to have it laying around. So I thought, okay, and for this, I'm just going to grab floral wire. Okay, I've kind of slipped this through underneath. And you can see how it's hard to see, and I'm sorry I can't zoom in. Doing this one-handed is not the easiest thing, and I have really destroyed this little ruffle, but I'm going to use it so I can show y'all how it goes in here. Then I'm just twisting this in with that floral wire. And I should probably have my pot of hot glue heating up too, because I'm sure that my florals will be kind of glued in. I'm trimming off all of this damage that I did while trying to get this done. basically. And like I said, I'll work on trimming all of that stuff off. But, so it looks a lot like when you put it into a twist tie on a regular deco mesh. Okay. Looks kind of Christmassy, as a matter of fact. And I'm just going to show y'all real quick, I've shown y'all this before, how to cut multiple mesh ribbon pieces, sections at one time. And my workspace is really a mess. I don't usually keep it this messy, but I've got so many things going at one time. Plus, we're still, doing the renovation of our 1901 Victorian house that we bought. It's been a year. Next week will be 1 year that we've been in this house. I cannot believe that it's been a year. But it has. I'm going to go and trim this edge off. So we're kind of starting even. All right, and then cut these in 12-inch lengths. And that would be right here. And for this, you're not going to be doing like you do a regular deco mesh wreath. In a deco mesh wreath, you've got 18 twists that you have to fill. Here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe that I want to put a ruffle in. Max is out there. He sees somebody. It's probably FedEx or somebody here to deliver. Actually, that's all I'm going to cut. So since I stacked them on top of each other, I made 2 cuts and I got 6 ruffles for it. And which works out great. Of course, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I don't want to put red ruffles in there since the mesh itself is red. And to make the ruffle, you take this is a 10-inch, remember it's 10 inches long, and then I cut it to 12 inches. It's 10 inches wide, I cut it to 12 inches long. And you just lay it down, grab in the middle, scrunch it in the middle until you kind of make a bow tie or a butterfly or whatever. We're going to come back over here. I do need to trim off that zip tie. So, this is what you have so far. It's clearly very, patriotic looking, very sort of festive looking, which we love. And then start thinking about some ribbons. I'm going to get some ribbons in here. You probably cut your ribbons to about, I don't know, 13 inches, 12 inches is probably fine. That's the length of your ruffle. There we go. Cutting ribbons is very tedious. Takes a long time. When you get your ribbon cut, I always like to show y'all doing the little chevron end. You do them both at the same time. Just fold over your ribbon and then fold it over again. The wired side, really using wired ribbon is the only way to go with this. On the wired side, you cut down toward that at an angle from the folded side down to the wired side. So you can see it's got this little angle. And then when you're done, there's your nice little chevron edge. Okay, after you have all of your ribbons cut to 12 inches, I decided to go ahead and put all 3 different ribbons into one, onto every single ruffle. And so to do that, to make it easier, I went ahead and I ran my floral wire through the zip tie that's under here. That way I can do all 3 of the ribbons at the same time. Honestly, I did this one ribbon at a time, and oh my God, it was the worst. And so I don't want to do that again. So just take all of your ribbons, kind of even them up a little bit, and then go ahead and pinch them in the middle. And once you get them in there, you'll be able to separate them out. And so I'm going to slip it in between this floral wire I've opened up, so I've got one end in each hand. I'm going to slip them in there, and very tightly I'm going to twist that floral wire. To just really twist them in there. The principle is the same as if you were doing it in a work wreath, and those are your twists, you know, your tinsel twists that are in your work wreath. I'm going to trim some of this off. Then I'm going to separate the ribbons and give them a good little tug. I mean, you're not going to hurt anything. If something was to come undone, you could absolutely go back in and fix it. So here we have the first 2. And I got bonked myself in the head with the wreath. I'm glad y'all couldn't see that, but certainly you could hear it. And I'm just going to keep going in the same pattern. I've got the blue chevron and then the red and burlap stripe, and then the stars and stripes on top. Okay, so that is making a patriotic wreath using a grapevine wreath and Deco mesh. I used some zip ties to do the puffs, poops of 21-inch mesh. That was leftover mesh that I happened to have. I believe I did 9-inch poofs. I used zip ties to zip tie it actually to the grapevine wreath. And then I went in with some 10-inch mesh, and I used the poly burlap mesh. I did some ruffles, so I cut the 10-inch mesh to 12-inch lengths, gathered them up in the middle, and I used floral wire to attach those to the poofs. So I kind of went behind the poofs with the floral wire, grabbing kind of behind the zip ties to do that. And then I went on top of that with 3 different kinds of 3-inch ribbon. And I stacked them on top of each other. I cut those to 12-inch lengths, stacked them on top of each other, pulled them together in the middle, and I used the floral wire. I went ahead and attached the floral wire first, so I had the 2 ends waiting to twist together, set them in, twisted them in, and then I just pulled the ribbons apart. Just separate them apart. Don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt anything. And then after that, I thought, well, I needed some embellishments, and so I just looked in the stash of things that I had that I kind of showed you at the beginning. I used floral wires for those 3 stars. They're loose. I don't know if I'm going to keep, if I'm going to just keep them like that. There are little holes in them that I just threaded the floral wire through and attached it. I may end up going in and gluing those to the wreath. I don't know, I may or may not do that. And then I just looked through my florals and I saw I had some white daisies. I had a couple of denim little rosettes, rosebuds, well actually they're roses, and some white filler that I happen to have. I had lots of these kinds of picks that have little hearts and stars in different colors. I've got them with red, white, and blue. I went behind and stuck a couple of them in, and I attached them with some zip ties. And then I went kind of to the front and stuck a couple of them into the front. I have a couple of these there's a little sparkly ball, wire ball, and then there's a wire ball up here I had also. I didn't have any in blue, so I couldn't add blue. And then I kind of just trimmed up everything. But that's it. I think that it's a really cute wreath, super easy to make. If you've got a grapevine wreath, like I said, this one's a big one. This one's probably at least 24 inches. It's a big one, so maybe do an 18-inch one if you can find that. I don't know the sizes that they come in, quite frankly. And then just throw some mesh on there. It doesn't have to be the poly burlap. It's whatever you can find. If you're not doing a patriotic wreath, you can come up with something else. That would be just as cute. Easter, you know, I could see some really cute Easter colors on this, maybe a cross over here. It would be cute. Bunnies, that would be cute also. There's just so much that you can do with it, so give this a try. Be sure to go to undertexassky.com and check out the other things that we've got going there, all my other tutorials. On the very front page of undertexassky.com, that's where they are. Go to my Facebook page and like it. If I post something to the website, I put it out on the Facebook page, and that is Facebook, and then Under a Texas Sky. And Instagram, I'm on there too, _a_Texas_sky. You can find me there too. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the blog. Every once in a blue moon, I'll send out a newsletter. I don't do it daily, I don't do it weekly. Sometimes I don't even do it monthly, but I love you guys. I hope you like this. I hope you try it. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments. I always answer my questions. Any questions or comments that anybody leaves for me, I always will recognize that you did that, and I will comment back to you. I love y'all. Y'all be safe and give this a try. Blessings. I'll see you next time.